Ever been at work? It felt like you were moving around without even thinking, kind of like a chicken with its head cut off. Well, if you have, you're not alone. Now I'll try my best to retell the events of one of, if not the worst days that I've had at work. The day started off well. I woke up at a good time and I was able to eat and shower with no rush. I even got to work 4 minutes early, which doesn't happen that often. It all started once I clocked in and checked my work device. I'm tasked with completing the orders that guests make online. Most days, one person is all that's needed to make sure that the orders are completed on time, but today was not one of those days. When I checked the device, it said that there were 3 orders currently in the system. I quickly started to work on the one with the most items, but then I noticed that one of the other orders had a similar amount of items but less time left to complete it. I then decided to ask for help from another team member by using my walkie-talkie. I've been told in the past that it's sometimes hard to hear me when I speak on the walkies, but I decided to ask for help once and continue with the order since it's what I've done in the past when I've been in this kind of situation. I finished the order that I started when I clocked in. All that was left was to bag it up, stow it, and be done with it. I decided to check on the other orders in the system when I noticed that the other order had less than 30 minutes left. I was pretty surprised, but there was still enough time left, so I decided to call for help again using my walkie. I started bagging the order that I had completed when I noticed that one of the items in the order was missing from my cart. I went upstairs, grabbed the item, and went back to bagging the items. I finally finished, and when I went to check the orders for the third time, I noticed that the other order now had 22 minutes left. Instead of complaining about it, I quickly started the order and went looking for the items. Lucky for me, the order was only for grocery items, so it meant that I only had to be in one section of the store. I finished the order with 8 minutes left to bag all the items. After finishing the 2 largest orders in the system, I felt good since the last one left only had 2 items in it, and it still had about 30 minutes left. Little did I know that I was about to run into another problem. I started bagging the items for the grocery order that I had completed. I had a good amount of time left to complete it, so I wasn't rushing, since there was only one order left in the system. I finished bagging the order and went to stow it. Whenever I do grocery orders, I have to start by stowing the refrigerated items in the fridge and freezer first, then the rest after. So I started with the fridge items first. Once I was done, Once I was done with those items, I moved on to the freezer items. I went to the freezer where the orders are usually placed, but I noticed that it was empty, which I found really odd. So I asked the team member that takes the orders out for drive ups, and they told me that the freezer downstairs wasn't working and that all the orders were being kept upstairs. I had 3 minutes left on the order, so I rushed upstairs and looked for the spot where the orders were being kept. I wasn't able to find it, so I just left the items in the freezer upstairs and went back downstairs to scan the location in the downstairs freezer. I ended up finishing the order with 13 seconds left. So now at the end of this story, you've seen just the first hour and a half of my worst day at work. And I wish I could say that it got better, but sadly it didn't. In just the first hour and a half at work, I struggled to find someone to help me with the orders that were in the system, while also struggling to place the orders in the correct location, among many other things. Now, this draws curtains on the story about my worst day at work. Thanks for listening.